So often the best part of a new product is the consideration stage, like the moment in between you knowing, becoming aware of the product and actually getting it. Opening the box is also really cool. But there is nothing like that feeling of consideration, of imagining what could you do with it, how it will affect your life. You sort of cut that emotion with your childhood and your hopes and dreams, and there is nothing like wanting something. But at the end of the day, rarely, in my experience, rarely a product can live up to the expectations that you create for it. I'm a brand marketing expert, and I know that's what I do every day. So with that said, there are products that do live up to the expectations, and a tiny minority that go beyond those expectations, like that Les Paul. So this is a great example of something that, in my opinion, it's worth every penny that you pay for it, and that goes beyond what I expected. But I digress. So the Kemper Profiler, I dreamt about owning the Kemper Profiler for years. I mean, I'm serious. Years, 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know how many years, but I remember for the longest time I wanted a Kemper. I saw, their videos online. I saw reviews. People are crazy about it, and I get it. So I dreamt about owning a Kemper for years. It's obviously an expensive piece of equipment. And the thing sounds great and feels great too. It has so the sound has a characteristic to it, which is not really the profiling. I think it's mostly the fact that you're hearing a profile of an amp, but going through microphones and all that. So the sound is not as raw as an amplifier would be, and the feel is good as well. I mean, especially if you connect it through a PA system and you crank that, or you provide enough volume to move a bit of air. It sounds good. It feels good. I would say that it is not the most pure, honest approach to generating tone, but not honest in a philosophical way, like there is no intrinsic value necessarily, but honest in terms of how how the sound, the perceivable sound reacts to your playing, how your playing translates into sound. It seems like there is more compression and stuff that you wouldn't necessarily expect, but that's a great feel too. So I didn't get rid of my Kemper because of sound nor feel. I think it was very, very good at those. I'm gonna read my notes again. Yeah, as far as I can tell, feel, sound, it's all good. Possibilities and user interface, those are the two factors that made me decide to sell the Kemper quickly. I mean, I had it under a month, I think, or I sold it immediately. I gave it a real chance, but it didn't work. Possibilities. So before I go into that, like this video, but before I go into that, possibilities in user interface. I am not I used to be, but I'm not anymore, that dude that just loves vintage because of vintage. That doesn't work for me anymore. I went through that phase, okay? I bought the quirky guitar. I bought the Grecos and I bought the vintage tube thing. Yes, there is something to it, but there is something to modern stuff as well. So I don't love vintage just because of vintage. I drive a modern car because I wanted to protect me and my technology, to protect me and my kids and my family from dying. I work in the tech industry. I like stuff like mirrorless cameras and my digital audio interface. Macs. I like digital. There's nothing wrong with digital, and technology enables people like myself and perhaps like you to do things. So that's great. Okay, so it's not related to the fact that the Kemper is digital. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Again, sound and feel were pretty good. So, when it comes to guitar playing specifically, composing, playing, enjoying, there is a visceral connection. I feel a connection that is not like driving a car. By the way, there are people that feel that connection with cars. I'm not one of those persons, but I do feel that with guitars. And I believe that when you introduce thinking to that equation, to the playing, feeling, enjoying equation, when you think too much, it takes from that. It reduces the primitive visceral connection, and it turns it into an intellectual exercise. So obviously there is a spectrum, but I rather being on the more visceral side. And the user interface is complex. It offers many possibilities, and you have to navigate your way around it to produce the sound that you hear or that you want to hear. So here's a great example for that. So yesterday I was playing, and I wanted to create a setup that basically can go from crunch to lead tones, right? And I had these two pedals on my pedal board, just two, plus the tube amp. And I think I spent like 2 hours trying to decide whether I wanted to set the amp clean and then use the overdrive pedal, and then the boost to boost that, and perhaps disengage the overdrive pedal and use the boost to boost the signal too, or set the amp a little dirtier and then use the boost, because it has two different boosts here. Use the clean boost to add more distortion for a crunchy sound, and then the other side, the mid boost for leads, and then the overdrive for creamier tones. I mean, I spent like 2 hours playing a phrase and then turning it on and playing it again and hearing, and then turning the other side and playing and hearing, and then the overdrive, and then how they interact. I mean, you know what I mean. And these are 3 buttons and 6 knobs, 6 pots to mess with. A Kemper has 1,000 buttons, not literally, but every button controls menus that can go very deep into settings. And when I played the Kemper, I was spending hours trying to find something that I didn't like, and that was very distracting. That having that many possibilities in front of you paralyzes me, and it's just, I mean, I'm not lazy about clicking the buttons. It's just that there are too many things there. So yeah, I couldn't play. I don't know. It was too intellectual, so I didn't like that experience. So I sold it. That's why I sold my Strymon timeline, by the way, as well. Too many options. I mean, here's what happened with both. What I did was, okay, let's find the sound that works and let's leave it there. So my Kemper I was using 1 or 2 profiles, and that's it. And at the, let's say at the end of our relationship, I was doing that, and with the timeline, the same thing. Just tape delay, and it's there, and I would play with the mix and the feedback and the time. So that was good and all, but then I end up with 2 basically computers playing 1 or 2 sounds, and that defeats the whole purpose of the thing. So I got rid of those, and I don't have a delay pedal with me. When I use delay, I just put it on Logic after recording, or on the Apollo's console while recording, which is good. And for amp tones, I use two amps, Soar Corso Vox AC4 hand wire. And that's good enough for me. I mean, I could even go with 1, and that's it. So yeah, that's why I sold my Kemper. Not because of sound, not because of feel, but because of too many possibilities and a less than ideal or complex user interface to navigate through those. At the end of the day, I think I need just a tone or 2 and focus on playing and focus on how your guitar can create different textures and different sounds, which is ultimately more enjoyable to me, and I can spend more time playing. Having that many possibilities is like asking yourself where I should go. And having 160 paths. It's like commuting to work and having 160 paths or something like that to try. See which one is quicker, see which one is nicer. Jesus, that's too much. Having an amp, a single channel amp, it's like saying, I'm going this way. How can I make this path the most enjoyable with what I have with me? I love that thing. That thought, that mindset. Thank you for watching. Bye.